Hey guys, it's Rachel. I am back for another of the YouTube Pagan Challenge videos. I skipped last week's, which was all about cleansing and consecrating tools, and I skipped that because I was kind of a mess mentally and emotionally last Friday, and to be honest, I haven't cleansed and consecrated anything in the tools and that sort of a thing since in a very, very long time. I've mentioned I'm kind of minimalistic and if it's not broken, don't fix it, kind of a thing lately. That might be laziness, that might just be, I don't have spoons to do this, but regardless, I didn't feel like I had anything valuable to say on the topic last week. But this week's topic is, let me pull it up again, where do you perform your rituals, and then holy sites, sacred spaces, and circle casting procedures. So, I had hoped to do part of this video, at least, outside in the sacred spaces that I use around campus. However, winter has returned with a vengeance, and it's mind-numbingly cold. My fingers still feel kind of, stiff and frozen, and I've been home for about 10 minutes. So that was not going to happen today, unfortunately, but I can still talk about it. So obviously when I'm at school, most of my rituals, because a lot of my time here is spent here during the winter time, and it's frigid a lot in West Michigan here. Most of my rituals take place right in the space that you see me in right now. My altar is, right here over my shoulder here. So most of my rituals for a good chunk of the year happen right here in my dorm room. Kind of just set up space there. However, I do have a couple of natural spaces on campus that I go to perform magic or drum a little bit or meditate, that sort of a thing, back in the ravines. So there's one in the back of the arboretum. There's a little stump that I've used as altar space. You can see the remnants of wax drippings and that sort of nonsense on it. And then there's also a grove further back in the woods, that sort of thing, where I sometimes go to hang out, and that's where I'd wanted to film, but again, it's much, much too cold. I'm going to be posting some accompanying blog posts, that sort of deal, as soon as I'm done making this video, so that should show up if you follow my WordPress, right with a link to this video. I'll try to remember to post a link to it in the description of this video as well, and I'll throw some photos in there that I've taken of those spaces because, again, I really wanted to show you guys, but the weather's not agreeing with me. So I found a few natural places on campus to kind of just, vibe with the space, and they've kind of become, my own little mini sacred spaces, as it were. As far as holy sites go, living in the US and practicing a Celtic pagan path is kind of a bummer sometimes because you don't get the experience of having holy sites that are specific to your path, within a few hours drive of you. You do have a lot of Native American sites, but that kind of, bridges that, what is respectful, what is kind of cultural appropriation, what is, this, that, and the other thing. So I don't tend to use that sort of stuff. I have been to a few of the holy sites in Britain. I've been to Stonehenge, I've been to Avebury, I've been to Chalice Well, and the Glastonbury tour in Glastonbury, and those were all incredible experiences, and they are experiences that I kind of hold really near and dear to my heart, and I have little things that I picked up from shops in those areas and that sort of thing that I kind of keep as memories of those trips, but I can't obviously go and visit them very often. Other places in Michigan in general that are really kind of special to me in a sacred sense. I obviously have the grove and my little outdoor shrines and stuff like that at home, um, in my parents' yard that I kind of go to whenever I'm home. Again, I'll try to post pictures of those in the accompanying blog post because I can't be there. So I have like a little like tucked away in a circle of pines and cedars little grove in my parents' property that I tend to go and like do some of my more personal rites at. I also have a tree that I have like a little outdoor shrine at. And whenever I do like cord magic, like little prayer ribbons and those sort of things, I'll tie them to the branches of this tree. And we've called him Treebeard because he has this, big, long, wizardy looking beard pattern in his bark. And he kind of looks like the same sort of tree as Treebeard from the Lord of the Rings movies. So that is just what he's become known as. And so I'll go and hang out with him and leave offerings on this little stump next to his, trunk there, and leave little prayer ribbons and those sort of things there. And it's just kind of like a really nice place to be and to spend time. It's like a nice shady hill in my parents' yard. And, I have this like really deep connection with the tree itself and then the kind of, energies of that space. What else to talk about? So, as far as circle casting for my rituals go, I don't typically cast a circle, partially because I've been following a few like different druid traditions that just don't cast. What is my hair doing? I'm sorry, guys. That don't cast circles. And again, with the I don't have the spoons to do complex things side of it. I've found that in casting a circle, it takes a lot of time and energy and kind of distracts me from whatever it is I'm doing. By the time I get a circle set up and have the quarters called and that sort of deal, I've kind of lost the momentum and the focus that I need for whatever working that I tend to be doing, and that's just a personal thing. So I tend typically, rather than casting a circle, and in my personal thoughts, gnosis, that sort of deal, a circle basically has, a few different purposes. It's to contain energy and kind of keep it there to build up and that sort of a thing before you release it. To keep, negative things from influencing your work, and to sort of act as a liminal space, to be I'm putting myself in a liminal space so that I can commune with spirits, gods, whatever, and do my working. I've tended, rather than actually casting a circle, rather to kind of focus all of that energy just by cycling it through my own personal energy and my own kind of auric field. It's I am my sacred space. I don't need a circle to mark out sacred space. I don't need to take the time to call upon all of these quarters and things just in my personal practice, how I vibe with things, that sort of deal. I don't need that in my practice. So I don't typically cast circles unless, of course, I'm practicing with friends and other pagans who do. And I've lately started stepping back from no, I don't want to participate in the casting of it. I had a group for a really long while, and I was sort of the leader of that group. And long after I had stopped using circle castings in my own practice, I was still sort of half expected to cast the circles for those group gatherings. And I'm fam, I don't really do this anymore. So that's been, something that I've just been experimenting with. Plus, I don't do a whole lot of intense magic that requires circle casting, I guess. So I just haven't been. I tend to make sure that the sacred space around my altar and the sacred space that I'm working in is, cleansed. And I do a lot of, I have like a bell that I ring, and I do drumming and chanting and those sorts of things to like get myself into that ritual mindset to cleanse the area and to really like mark out, this is time for ritual, this is time for whatever it is I might be doing in that sort of a sense. So that is basically my little spiel, 10-minute spiel on sacred spaces and holy sites and the like. A lot of my, stories about my personal little like groves and things that I've found really kind of require some photographs. So I will be posting, again, a blog post about those things with pictures and all that sort of good stuff for you guys. And just as another little like reminder, there's 1 week left roughly until the full moon in February. And I do offer 3 free tarot readings every full moon, just to people who message me on, email, YouTube, whatever, Twitter, those sorts of things. I have a contact thing in my blog. I'll post that down below too. And all 3 slots right now are still open, so give me readings to do, my friends. I really look forward to doing it. I had a real awesome experience with those readings that I did for, the new year and the first full moon of the year, so I look forward to doing that again. And I will quit chattering on it, you guys. Have a great day, and blessed be.